What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Dr. Mike is yet up again. The guy's super cool. He's mad viral and he's extremely open about his steroid use. It feels like it's Steroid Awareness Month. It's almost like five years ago, there was nothing but steroid talk online. Maybe the algorithm is being like, yeah, man, we cool with the steroid thing now. Maybe we can just talk a little more and not, demonetize content when we need this awareness. So I'm gonna continue to talk about it because it needs to be said. Just being aware of steroids and what they can actually do. And I feel like all of us who have used steroids need to be realistic about what it actually was like being on it.
You mentioned from personal experience being aware of the dark side of anabolic use. What is that?
How long do you have anxiety like you would not believe? Every day that I'm on high doses, I wake up in the morning afraid of the rest of my day. Intrusive thoughts. I think about violence all the time. Well, if your testosterone is 25 times what it's supposed to be, what the hell do you think it's gonna make you think about? Another one is a marked proximate reduction of IQ. Like right now, as I talk to you, I'm on contest prep. I'm on a considerable dose of anabolics. I'm not as smart right now, and I can feel it. It's this fog. An inability to perceive a broad spectrum of positive human emotion. I live in a really beautiful area in Michigan, and I walk out and there's this pond and these trees, and I know that I like looking at them, but it's a memory to me. I go work out every morning and I look at the pond and the trees and I'm like all I feel is rage and frustration and anger. That's my daily life.
Welcome to another episode.
If I'm for the first time watching Doc Mike on Doc Mike's channel, there's two Doc Mikes. And I'm like, you know what, man, I'm on the fence about doing steroids. And I saw that clip, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing any of that. I've been to Doc Mike's place. Beautiful. Like absolutely stunning, the entire area. And for him to be like, when I'm on doses, I basically hate where I'm at. It's like, that is extreme, but it's true. But not many people articulate how they're actually feeling on steroids because God forbid that we tell you the truth. I've been on a bunch of podcasts and I've been open about my mental health, very open about it. My coping mechanisms, how I dealt with all of my emotional internal issues was violence. I have cuts all over my body. My tattoos cover up most of them. I was a cutter. I got in fights. I wouldn't pick fights, I would look for them. The last time I got in trouble with the police, I remember I was in court. I was up on aggravated assault charges. If I was ruled against, my life would have been completely ruined. I remember the last day in court. I remember my mom and dad were there. My teachers wrote letters and stuff. I got character references and whatnot. The judge looks at me and he's like, it looks like you have a pretty bright future, young man. But if I ever see you here again, I'm gonna make sure your future goes up in flames. I remember just being like, yes, sir. And after that day, other things happened in my life. I ended up doing drugs for the first time. I then ended up in drug addiction counseling at the end of my university career. And that's when I started bodybuilding. I got into bodybuilding and started taking steroids. 2012 to 2014, that's when I had this break of darkness, like extremely dark. Bodybuilding was really quiet, like extremely quiet, like very alone and very quiet. There's no one else with you when you're doing cardio for an hour. You're by yourself trying to get through an hour of cardio. When you're training or when you're hungry, all those things, it is a very lonely sport. And then when you're done training at the gym, you're prepping at home and it's still very lonely. And that's when things started to get very lonely, dark. And I had no clue what the hell was happening. I had absolutely no clue. Until one day I remember sitting downstairs and I was like, hey, I'm depressed. Like something's going on. Not like one of these, like, I'm depressed. I'm like, this is like, I'm cutting again. So I end up seeing a therapist. I get to see my therapist. Blessed, lucky that happens, and things change because I'm working on, again, I've always, for the longest time, I've always been like, there's something up, I need to figure this out. I want to be a Jedi of my mind. That's all I think about is like, I want to control this. I was very aware that all the things that are going on in my life, losing scholarships to opportunities to all these things that happened, I knew that I was the reason a lot of things were happening. So for me, it was like, I need to figure this out because if I don't fix this, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not gonna do anything. I don't really care about whatever it is. I'm never gonna achieve this pro card that I'm now after. I get to work with someone who can help me understand mindfulness, self-awareness, work on emotional intelligence, be more aware of all the things that are going on around me. What that did was, it made me so aware of how much I had to manage my mental health. And I can promise you right now, all the things that Doc Mike is saying, 100%. Hindsight, a lot of the management that I had to go through, I didn't have to go through if I wasn't taking steroids. When people ask me, like, how was prep last year? And I did the Master Olympia gear free, guys. I'm sitting there, it's like a mind F. And I'm wondering, like, why the heck am I not crazy? Why am I not feeling way worse than I normally should? I was like, oh my God, I'm not doing steroids. I'm not doing steroids. Because like I would link how we feel to how we look. If we don't feel like shit, we probably don't look good. I was not only getting strong as hell in the gym, training, going through prep and building my mental fortitude, I didn't realize that doing steroids was making me have to do it even more. I'm gonna say, if you have a choice, I wouldn't do it if I were you. If you haven't done it yet, don't do it. If you want to bodybuild, I'll say this to you. If you have the genetics and the chance to be an Olympian, I'm talking you can go on stage, you have the genetics to be a top level Olympian, then I'd be like, yeah, man, pick and choose your shit. What do I mean by that? Antoine Vaillant is an amazing bodybuilder. I'm not sure he's a top 10 Olympian yet, but he's an amazing bodybuilder. If you're not gonna be anywhere near as good as Antoine, don't bodybuild. If you're not gonna be a Jen Dory or a Laura Lee Chapados, don't bodybuild. Here's what you're gonna have to deal with. All the things that Dr. Mike said that he went through and the things that I said I went through, you are 100% gonna go through the same thing. Nobody is void of what steroids do to your body and your mind. Do all you can to understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. Once you get into it, it's gonna be hard to get off. I look at this now, it's like I went from one addiction to the next. I went from one addiction to bodybuilding, and the steroid usage was an addiction. The only positive thing about that is I just finished a drug addiction counseling and then 10 years with a therapist. You know what having a healthy mental health means? You just know how to manage your mental health. You don't get cured of a mental illness. You learn how to control and manage it. So when it came for me being like, I'm done doing steroids, it's very easy for me to be like, I'm done doing steroids. There's not a bit of me that's like, I want to go back on. I don't want to, there's not. I know exactly what I need to do to make myself look better in certain instances when I need to. And that's just do more cardio and diet down maybe like 3-4 pounds, and you'll be like, oh my God, he looks like he's huge. But I wouldn't be able to be here and do that if I didn't go through therapy. My mental health is my top priority. You're gonna opt out to do a few things in your life once you put your mental health as your #1 priority. Hope to bring you guys some kind of insight. Hope to help someone out there that's watching. Make decisions now and understand that it's gonna affect your future.